Welcome to San Diego Market Movers. I'm your host, Valley, and I'm here with Aris Anagnos. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Valley. Appreciate it.
So I was curious, how many ways and what are they for a seller to sell their home?
Yeah, it's a great question. There's a lot of different ways nowadays, to come at that situation, and so we'll go over five
Okay.
here with you today. So let's jump into it.
Okay.
So the first one that I'll talk about with you guys is cash offers. I think everyone's seen those cash offer advertisements. We'll buy your home, and there's a lot of different companies out there that do this now. These are best for if you have maybe a home that's distressed, it needs a lot of updating. You're mainly looking for convenience with these kind of offers. They can close in as little as 5 days. And then typically they'll be more flexible if you need to stay in your home after the close of the sale. What you're not going to get with those is the top dollar for your home. They like to say that you can sell your home without a realtor, and that's true. But you're going to be taking a lot less. And so the way I've seen them typically work is they'll actually build all of their costs into the offer. So if they make you an offer for $1 million for your home, that might sound really attractive at first, but they might, by the time you walk away with your net, which is the important number, they've actually put anywhere from 8 to 10% in the closing costs. So by the time you add all that up, it's really not what you're
Gotcha.
looking at. But again, if you need flexibility, quickness, no problems, that's what the trade-off is.
Okay.
So the second way would be that we hear a lot about nowadays is off markets. And that's basically when you hear off market, that means you're keeping the home or the property off of the MLS. So it's not going out to the public. And there's a couple scenarios where I think that's beneficial. If you just want to test the waters and see what kind of, an offer you can get for your home, kick the tires on an offer, it can be a good way to go. If you have, again, a fixer-upper property or a property that's ideal for development, most investors prefer to buy the properties off the market. So those properties are ideal for that kind of a scenario. I think there's a misnomer though, with the off market. There's a lot of folks that want that to be, the preferred way for sellers to go, that it's exclusive and somehow more beneficial. I really think that's a disservice to the seller, because the number one way to still get top dollar for your home is put it into the MLS with your agent, have a multi-tiered marketing approach and strategy in place. That's how you get top dollar, because you have the widest buyer pool. When you're off market, you have a very finite, narrow buyer pool. So you're casting a very small net. And again, like I said, there's certain situations where it can be beneficial, discretion's preferred. But outside of that, if you're looking to get top dollar, I wouldn't recommend it.
Okay.
So the last three ways I'll go into briefly is just what I talk about with sellers when it comes to the strategy and pricing of their home. So there's top tier. That's where you're listing above the market value of your property. This can be beneficial if you want to, again, test the market. You're not in a rush to sell the home. And you give yourself wiggle room to negotiate with offers if they're lower that you'd be okay with.
Okay.
So that's really the benefit to it. I've had clients prefer to do it that way. I don't always recommend it, but if that's what's best for you, then we can work on that. But it can take up to a year to sell a home that way, and you're kind of betting that the market's gonna
Meet you there.
catch fire.
Yeah.
And I did work with a seller where we did that. It took a year. She did get her price, but it took a year. So that's the con to it, is you can kind of kill your momentum. It takes a lot longer. It can be a very frustrating way to go. So when I talk to sellers, it's like, hey, what is your situation? Here's what I'm going to recommend for your specific property, because every situation is different. So the next strategy would be fair market value, and that's really, we're listing the home for or the property for what it's worth in the area, what the comps are telling us, the exact price. And what's good about that is it's safe, protects the equity in the property. You're gonna sell the property within the timeline of whatever the average days on market is in that area. So if it's 30 days, expect it to be sold within 30 days. And your sales price is probably gonna be 1 to 2% more or less, whatever the average sales price is in the area. So it's very, safe way to go. I think we're seeing, just with the market where it is right now, more and more agents listing properties for fair market value, because there's uncertain conditions out there.
Right.
Things are slowing. It's taking longer. We have higher interest rates. So that's a safe way to list your home in today's market. But just understand, it's going to be within that average days on market time period. There's not really a drawback to doing that. I think the only drawback, if you want to consider one, for a fair market approach, would be it doesn't necessarily give you the home run offer, like, hey, we got way more for this property than I thought we were going to get, and I'm blown away. It's not going to necessarily do that. And that leads me into the last one, which of course is like the auction style pricing strategy, where you've probably seen this. They list it way below what it's worth, and then they've got like a line around the block, 25 offers on a house. It goes way over what anybody thought it would sell for, right? We've all seen that. So the benefit to that is when it works, you can get those home run offers. It can go way over the asking price. You can really create a mass competition for the home, and it will sell really fast. Usually after a weekend of open houses, it's game over when it works. The con is, like, when the market conditions turn, like we're kind of seeing right now, if you do that and the buyers aren't there due to interest rates or whatever's going on in the market conditions, well, then you've kind of, priced the property too low, and now you have to sort of reevaluate things. Do we raise the price? And then kind of have to explain what you were doing. You might have to pull the property off the market for 6 months, a year, just to kind of, reset the clock, so to speak. It can be a little bit risky. So I don't always recommend that. What I'd ideally like to see is some proof in the area that it's been done recently and has had success.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Okay, so 5 ways to sell your home.
There you go.
You learned something today if you watched that whole video, so I appreciate your expertise. Thanks for being here.